Brothels in the Wild West represent a captivating and often controversial facet of American frontier history. Amid the rugged landscapes, booming mining towns, and untamed wilderness of the 19th century, these establishments emerged as vital hubs for entertainment, companionship, and of course, the provision of sexual services. Join Facts First as we present filthy secrets of what brothels were like in the Wild West. Prevalence. Brothels were remarkably prevalent in many Wild West towns and mining camps. These establishments catered to the predominantly male populations that characterized the frontier in the 19th century. The gold rushes in particular brought a surge of men to remote areas, creating a significant demand for the services offered by brothels. These were often the first businesses to be established in newly founded towns. High demand. The Wild West was known for its gender imbalance due to the migration of men seeking opportunities in mining, ranching, and other industries, while women were often scarce. Consequently, brothels played a crucial role in providing companionship, entertainment, and of course, sexual services to the male population. Discreet locations. To avoid public scrutiny and maintain a degree of privacy for their clients, many brothels were strategically located in discreet or hidden areas within towns. This discretion was essential because despite their prevalence, prostitution was considered taboo and subject to various forms of moral and legal scrutiny. Famous madams. Some brothels in the Wild West were operated by famous madams who became well-known figures in their own right. Diamond Jessie Heyman, for example, was a renowned madam who ran brothels in various frontier towns, including Denver and Cripple Creek, Colorado. Her extravagant lifestyle and flamboyant personality made her a local legend. Red light districts. Several Wild West towns had designated red light districts, where brothels were concentrated. These districts, often marked by red lanterns or lights, made it easier for patrons to find brothels. Notable red light districts included New Orleans' Storyville, Dodge City's Front Street, and Denver's Market Street. These areas were known for their bustling nightlife, saloons, and of course, brothels, creating a distinctive atmosphere in these towns. Short lifespan. Brothels in the Wild West often had relatively short lifespans due to the unpredictable nature of frontier towns. These towns frequently experienced boom and bust cycles tied to the success or failure of nearby mines, ranches, or other industries. As populations fluctuated, so did the demands for brothels. When a town boomed, new brothels would quickly emerge to meet the demand. Conversely, when a town went bust, many businesses, including brothels, would shut down or relocate to more promising areas. Racial segregation. Brothels in the Wild West were not immune to the racial segregation that characterized the era. In some instances, different brothels catered to specific ethnic or racial groups. For example, Chinese immigrants often faced discrimination and were only allowed to patronize Chinese brothels. Similarly, African American and Mexican prostitutes sometimes worked in segregated establishments. Exotic themes. Some brothels were known for their exotic themes and decor. The interior design of these establishments featured elements from various cultures, such as Oriental, Egyptian, or Victorian motifs. These themes were intended to create an enticing and luxurious atmosphere for patrons, making the experience of visiting a brothel more memorable. High prices. Services at brothels were relatively expensive compared to the average income of the era. This meant that visiting a brothel was a luxury that only wealthier people or those who had struck it rich in mining or other endeavors could afford. This was partly due to the risk and stigma associated with prostitution and the cost of maintaining a brothel. Regulatory measures. In some Wild West towns, efforts were made to regulate brothels. Local authorities would issue licenses to brothel owners and conduct periodic health inspections to control the spread of sexually transmitted infections. However, the effectiveness of these measures varied widely from one place to another, and many brothels continued to operate without proper oversight. Competition. The competitive nature of the brothel business in the Wild West led to innovative strategies to attract customers. Brothels often went beyond just providing sexual services. Many offered additional forms of entertainment like gambling, live music, dance performances, and even theatrical shows. Some brothels had unique selling points like specialty girls who could fulfill unusual or specific requests. This competition for customers contributed to the colorful and dynamic atmosphere of frontier towns. Cooperation with law enforcement. In some instances, brothel owners and madams struck deals or agreements with local law enforcement officials. This cooperation could involve regular payments to the police to avoid raids and arrests. The authorities, in turn, might turn a blind eye to the activities of the brothels as long as they complied with certain conditions or kept a low profile. These arrangements, while controversial, were not uncommon, and they added to the complexity of law enforcement in the Wild West. Famous clients. It's rumored some of the famous historical figures of the era frequented Wild West brothels. Figures like Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday, known for their roles in law enforcement and gunfighting aspects of the Wild West, were rumored to have visited brothels. Dangers for workers. Prostitutes working in Wild West brothels faced significant risks and dangers. These included physical violence from clients who might become unruly or aggressive, as well as the risk of contracting sexually transmitted infections. Additionally, the societal stigma associated with their profession made it challenging for these women to seek legal protection or support in case of abuse. Economic impact. Brothels played a notable role in the economic development of Wild West towns. They contributed significantly to local economies by generating income not only for the brothel owners, but also for the women working in these establishments, as well as for the suppliers of goods and services that catered to them. As brothels prospered, they often invested in infrastructure and amenities that benefited the broader community, like improved roads and utilities. Role in society. Beyond their primary function of providing sexual services, they often served as social hubs. Men would frequent brothels not only for physical companionship, but also for social interactions. These establishments often had bars or lounges where patrons could drink, gamble, and converse. In this way, they contributed to the social life and camaraderie of these remote towns. Cultural acceptance. While prostitution carried a certain stigma, some brothels and their owners managed to gain a degree of cultural acceptance in their communities. In some cases, madams and prostitutes were well-respected members of society, and their businesses were seen as necessary and tolerated. This level of acceptance could vary widely from one town to another, with some places being more permissive, while others were more conservative. Diversity of services. While brothels primarily offered sexual services, they often diversified their offerings to cater to a wide range of clientele. Some establishments also provided massages, dancing, and even pseudo-medical treatments claiming to cure various ailments. Now it's time to hear from you. Do you think brothels in the Wild West should be judged by today's standards, or are they more acceptable in the context of the era and the location? Let us know in the comments section below.